two of the most polarising men in the UFC, who also currently sit at the top of the UFC's welterweight division, could potentially find themselves crossing paths in the near future as they both go on the hunt for the welterweight title. In this video, we'll be breaking down how we believe the fight will go between Khamzat Chimaev and Colby Covington, as well as anything important you should know about either of these two men. With a matchup as exciting as this, you're going to want to make sure you stay until the end of the video to find out who we have winning between them and what advantage they have over each other. Khamzat Chimaev took the world by storm during the pandemic, where the UFC was forced to hold events with no crowd. And in private events in Saudi Arabia, Khamzat's rise to fame would be on the back of his stunning performances early on in his UFC career, having not even a single strike landed on him from his early fights. In July of 2020, he fought his UFC debut, where he fought twice in 10 days, breaking the UFC record for the quickest turnaround between two fights for a fighter. Not only did Chimaev break a UFC record, he would win performance of the night for both fights, getting a submission win in the second round against John Phillips on the 16th of July, and a TKO win in the first round against Reese McKee on the 26th of July, to start off his UFC career in the most incredible way ever seen in the sport. Since then, he faced increasingly difficult competition and proved himself to be the better man every time, knocking out Gerald Meerschaert 17 seconds into the first round and then submitting Li Jingliang 3 minutes into the first round for another 2 performance of the night bonuses. His UFC career, despite being a smooth ride in the octagon, wouldn't be as easy outside of the octagon. After his knockout of Gerald Meerschaert, he would contract COVID-19 and it would put an end to the momentum and hype he had created for the time being. In fact, his case was so severe he publicly declared retirement due to his health being in such a bad condition. Fortunately for him and us, it would improve eventually, but in no doubt affected his career heavily. Despite it though, he kept on form for his return against Li Jingliang. At this point in his career, the hype behind him was at an all-time high, as he called out all the top welterweights, with many hesitant to give him the opportunity. Gilbert Burns stepped up and put it on for one of the best welterweight fights of that year. On the 9th of April 2022, the two men met in the cage, and in the first time in Khamzat's career, he would be on both ends of a beating. Both men would get takedowns, knockdowns, moments where the fight would be close to over for either fighter. The result would be an exhilarating 3 rounds, where Khamzat would end up winning by unanimous decision. The fight-winning fight of the night, of course, and both men left bruised and bloody. The fight would be monumental for Khamzat, not only proving he could beat the best, but also proving he had the heart to face adversity and last in the later rounds. Khamzat then went on to defeat Kevin Holland after his match against Nate Diaz was cancelled due to Khamzat missing weight, which was a very controversial moment for him and the UFC. This now leads him today, where his next opponent is still undecided for now. Enough about Khamzat though. Colby needs little introduction as one of the most polarising figures to ever exist in mixed martial arts. Starting his UFC career in 2014, he worked his way towards becoming the UFC interim champion in 2018 after beating Rafael dos Anjos by unanimous decision. He would later be stripped of the belt due to inactivity, but after a decision win against Robbie Lawler, he would get a shot at the title, and it sparked a rivalry that goes on to this day in the UFC. That would of course be against Kamaru, the Nigerian nightmare, Usman. Colby has begun to take a new approach leading up to his fights, and this would be the beginning of his new personality in the UFC. Colby would take things way out of line with his over-the-top comments and leaning into the villain persona we know today. The fight between the two would end in a 5th round TKO by Usman, giving him his first loss in over 4 years. It would be over a year before Colby fought again after his loss, and his return would be up against Tyron Woodley, and Colby would end up winning due to a stoppage from a rib injury that Tyron suffered in round 5 of the fight. The win and the close stoppage from their initial encounter earned Colby another shot at the title, and this time Colby was determined to win. However, despite the fight being closer, Colby would once again lose to his nemesis. Colby showcased incredible cardiovascular endurance and fought incredibly well against a world-class Usman, both men being very well-rounded with little to no weaknesses to exploit. Which takes us to Colby's most recent fight, and also his most personal. We're talking, of course, about Jorge Masvidal. Putting aside their conflicts outside of the cage, Colby completely dominated Masvidal in their fight. Masvidal simply had no answer for Colby's superior wrestling and cardio, allowing Colby to secure the win by unanimous decision. Colby has perhaps one of the best gas tanks in the UFC, continuously going 5 rounds with seemingly no issue, as well as a chin that has taken the best of what the welterweight division has to offer. His wrestling background means for no hesitation in his striking from fear of being taken down. Colby also has an incredible ability to take things too far in the lead up to his fight, with personal insults that include his opponents, family, culture, and even their children. So if you're a fighter who is easily provoked, Colby is bound to get under your skin and affect your performance as a fighter. Khamzat, on the other hand, while also having an audacious personality, has a completely different attitude to him. Khamzat has an unwavering self-confidence and most definitely the skills to back it up. Khamzat also has a wrestling background and he's keen on developing his submission game. His incredible Darce choke has cut many fights short for his opponent, as well as the ground and pound that fighters from the North Caucasus region specialise in. On top of that, he's shown one-punch knockout power, as well as the ability to take some damage, which we were able to see thanks to his fight with Gilbert Burns. A final advantage is Khamzat's size. At 6'2" and not a stranger to fighting at middleweight, he towers over most welterweights with his height and reach advantage. This, of course, is a double-edged sword, as the weight cut is no doubt very difficult at his size. And now that you've understood the story behind both men, let's get into who would win and why. But before we do that, we hold a monthly shout out on our channel. All you need to do to enter is comment "I subbed" down in the comments section below. So make sure to comment so you can be in a chance of winning. Our vision on how the fight of Chimaev and Covington goes might take you by surprise, as we believe that Khamzat has the tools to defeat Covington, and if the two were to meet, Khamzat would come out on top. Thanks to his incredible wrestling background, he should have no trouble on the ground against Covington, and it should be the striking which ends up determining who wins the fight. However, if it did go to the ground, Khamzat has shown more submission game than Covington, so we believe he has the advantage there. If Colby is able to get to the later rounds, however, it is possible Khamzat tires out. And we've seen Colby have perhaps the best gas tank in the UFC, and he would do the best to use that to his advantage. Whether the fight will take place is still up for debate. Both men sit at the top of the welterweight division, so an encounter is not unlikely. But as both have their eye on the title, it's possible that other matchups take place, leaving this one left for the imagination. In the comments below, we want to hear how you think the fight would go and why. Thanks for watching. See you next time.